Welcome. Today we're going to be taking a look at Planet Unknown. This is a 1 to 6 player tile placement resource management science fiction game, where you take the role of Planeteers. You'll be developing an unknown planet, placing tiles, advancing tracks, gaining benefits like technology and rovers, trying to become the best Planeteer. How do you become the best Planeteer and win the game? By having the most medals at the end of the final round. Now that we know what the winning condition is, let's take a look at the components, setup, and how gameplay works in Planet Unknown. Now let's take a look at the components. Some of the components are from the deluxe edition of the game. You have the space station. Each section of the space station, containing an inner and outer tile, is called a depot. Polyomino tiles. On each of the tiles you have terrain. The types of terrain are, in each of the sections you have a resource. You'll go up the corresponding tracks for each resource. Black for civilization, blue for water, green for biomass, red for rover, gray for tech, and yellow or orange for energy. Planet boards. In the center of the planet board is your grid where you will be placing your tiles. Planet boards are double-sided. One side has the same planet and the other side has an asymmetrical planet. Around the outside of the planet board you have medals for completing rows or columns, and the blue circles are for your life pods. Corporation boards. Corporation boards are double-sided. One side has the same corporation and the other has an asymmetric corporation. On the left side of the corporation board you have your tracks. Black is civilization, blue is water, green is biomass, red is rover, and white is technology. You have your technology advancements on the right side of the board. On the top left you have spaces for your life pods that you collect. On the top right you have spaces for the meteorites you collect. Resource trackers. Black is civilization, blue is water, green is biomass, red is rover, and white is technology. Commander token. Rovers, life pods, meteorites, biomass patches, depot indicators, objective cards. One side is for the private objective and the other side is for the neighboring objective. Civilization cards. On the back of the card you have the rank of civilization, and on the front you have the benefit. Event cards, flux token, score pad, and finally your rulebook. Now let's take a look at the setup. We're going to be setting this up for a 3-player game which takes 8 steps. Step 1, load and place the space station. Load the space station with tiles based on the size and shape. The inner ring can be moved for a variable setup. Then place the space station in the center of the play area. Step 2, choose planet and corporation complexity. Corporations and planets are double-sided, basic, and asymmetric. Step 3, get in place player components. Get a planet board, corporation board, 2 matching depot tiles, and 5 resource trackers, 1 in each color. Place the planet board in your player area with the corporation to the right of the planet board. Place a depot tile at the top of your corporation board, above your player area, pointing at the outer ring tile of the space station. Then place resource trackers at the bottom of each track. Step 4, get in place life pods and rovers. Get a life pod for every blue circle on your planet board and place them on the circles. Then get a number of rovers as indicated on the corporation board and place them to the bottom right of your planet board. Step 5, separate, select, and place civilization cards. Separate the civilization cards by rank and then randomly select a number from each rank equal to the number of players plus 1. You'll place them face down by rank next to the play area. Step 6, create supply pools. Place supply pools for meteorites and biomass patches within reach of all the players. Step 7, shuffle and deal objective cards. Shuffle objective cards and place a card between each player. You'll place 3 in a 2-player game. Step 8, choose a start player and give them the commander token. Now let's take a look at the gameplay. A game consists of a number of rounds until a player cannot place a tile from their depot or a depot is completely empty. A round. A round consists of 3 phases. Rotate the space station, draft a tile, and gain effects. Now let's look at each in detail. Phase 1. Rotate the space station. The station commander rotates the space station to a depot of their choice. Keep in mind that you could leave it in the same space. Once chosen, we move to Phase 2. Phase 2. Draft a tile. All players will simultaneously draft a tile, one of the 2 in their depot. Then players will place the tile on their planet, keeping in mind that the first tile must touch the perimeter, with each subsequent tile orthogonally adjacent, and if placed over a life pod or rover, it is removed from the game. Also keeping in mind that the water resource is only activated when placed on the planet's ice space or the blue spaces. Once everyone places their tile, we move to Phase 3. Phase 3, gain effects. Players will advance the resource trackers for each resource on the tile. You will only advance water if it is placed on ice. For the civilization resource, or black, you would gain civilization milestones, which would gain you civilization cards. The water resource, or blue, gives you lots of medals for in-game scoring. The biomass resource, or green, gives you biomass milestones that gain you a biomass patch. The rover resource, or red, gives you rover milestones that allow you to place a rover on the last tile that you placed, and gives you a number of moves that you can move your rover. These moves can be split amongst multiple rovers, and the rovers can collect meteorites and life pods. The technology resource, or gray, gives you technology milestones, which allow you to gain a new ability for the rest of the game. The energy resource, or yellow, is a wild. You can choose between the other resources on the tile or on an adjacent tile to that energy terrain. Keep in mind that for any tile that has meteorites, you would place a meteorite on that symbol. Once all the resources and effects have been gained, the commander token is passed clockwise, and we move to the next round. And rounds would continue until one of the two in-game conditions are met. A player cannot place a tile from their depot. In this case, the player would select a tile, advance 2 resource tracks of their choice, and we would finish the round and go to the final scoring. Or if both stacks in a depot are empty, that is the final round, and we would go to the final scoring. The final scoring. Players will check biomass, civilization, and technology for any in-game actions, and then carry out the following steps. Step 1, score rows and columns. For each completed row and column, score the metals above it or to the side. Step 2, score resource tracks. Score the highest metal passed or covered in each resource area. Step 3, score life pods or meteorites. You would score 1 medal for each life pod and 1 for every 3 meteorites rounded down. Step 4, score civilization. You would score the in-game civilization cards. Step 5, score objectives. You would score medals for any completed objectives. Step 6, score neighbor objectives. Score the neighbor objectives if your planet is the winner when comparing with your neighbor planet. Once all the players have calculated their medals, the player with the most medals is the best planeteer and wins Planet Unknown.